You'll see in this devotion today, Ezra chapter 7, verse 10. It says here, for Ezra had devoted himself to the study and observation of the law of the Lord and to teach its decrees and laws in Israel. But interestingly, though, you'll also see if you go to verse 1 of chapter 7, you'll see it says here, after these things, during the reign of Artaxerxes, king of Persia, Ezra, and it goes through a list of every single one of his relatives. Now, I'm saying this because you need to see that when you're reading the Bible, you're not reading some mythological book. And the devotion for today, for March 24th, is quite simple: to be widely read. And this is what you need to understand, especially as a person who either is skeptical of the Bible, somebody who's new to the Bible, somebody who is learning and is really open and is trying their best to understand what they're reading. That, as this devotion says, all else being equal, it is desirable that Christians, especially ministers of the gospel, should be widely read. It is disagreeable experience to present oneself before a teacher for religious instruction and discover in less than 3 minutes that the said teacher should have changed places with his listeners and learn from them rather than they from him. And this is what's interesting is that it actually happens sometimes because, and this is what I want to actually encourage you about. When you can tell when somebody actually knows the Bible or not, okay? Because either they have washed it over with an idea that they try to present into the Bible, which is why if you go to my previous post, you'll see where I did this thing about where I posted somebody else's meme about exegesis and eisegesis. And exegesis is where you pull from the text. Eisegesis is where you put an idea into the text. And unfortunately, there are people out there who describe themselves as Bible teachers who are nothing. They're nothing but storytellers, and they're individuals who don't know the Word of God, but they will present themselves as being individuals who know it, but will twist the word to make it something that it doesn't even mean or to say. And so you just need to understand that that actually happens. Well, if you are widely read in this, you'd be able to know that, like this genealogy, when it goes verses 2 all the way through 6, you see how this genealogy actually plays out for this one man, and how he's actually tied to Aaron and even Phinehas, the priests in Israel during the Exodus. If you go and you look in Matthew and you look in Luke, you'll see the same genealogy, not the same one, but you'll see a genealogy of Jesus. And you'll see why it is so important that people actually kind of know, like, even the basics of this. You can go through several books of the Bible and see where people and their descendants come from. And this is why you need to know that when individuals present to you like the idea that the Bible's a mythological book, it's not true, it doesn't fit anything in the world today. You can actually say, if you know the basics, actually, no, it doesn't seem to work out, because these are actual names of people that live. These are actual individuals that existed. So there's something here that's actually very true. And this is why when you read the devotional today, to be widely read, and that means that you go through several books of the Bible and you just learn, okay? And this is what I would encourage you, especially if you are a person who's coming new to the Bible, that you focus in on one book, simply one book, and get to know that book backwards and forward, in and out, everything that you can possibly pull from it, all the information, whether it be people, places, things, ideas, what are presented, information that's presented because it's true, and then what the text is actually saying to you in that one book of the Bible. Like, it might be First Peter, it might be Second Peter, it might be, it might be Ezra, it might be Exodus, it might be Genesis, it might be whatever it is inside of the Word of God. You've got 66 books to play with. And what my recommendation is for you to be widely read in that. And I'm not saying to be widely read outside in secular or even non-secular books and stuff. I'm saying to be widely read of the Bible. And not saying that those things are bad. If you go to other books to kind of look up information, yeah, that's a cool. But if those things are taking precedence over what you're learning, what you're trying to learn in the Bible, you'll just get twisted and turned. This thing will help you, the Word of God, will help you to stay grounded in what it is that you're trying to learn about God, because God will speak right to you, right through the Word, and give you instruction, give you purpose, and show you who you actually are. People are scared of that. That's why people try to burn the book, or they try to tell you that you shouldn't read it, because they understand what the power is of this book. It actually is of the Lord speaking to you as you read through it. It's freaking freaky. It's true though. So I would say this to you, okay? To be widely read means that you dedicate yourself in periods of the day to look through, read, and to go through what it is that has happened in the past, in salvation history past, and then to ingest what God is trying to feed you as you read it. Take your time with it. Don't be overburdened with trying to know everything at one time. I got friends right now who are definitely new to the faith. They are involved in Bible studies right now, and I'm like, yes, okay, because the more that you study, the better that you will be able and prepared to answer people who try to refute what your faith is. But also the more that you study, even as a non-believer, you'll see that not only is your presupposition and ideas about the Bible completely false, but you'll discover that there's something here that's dedicated for you. Because when it says that, like when Paul states that he came from Acts, that he was supposed to preach to the Gentiles, you see what it means to be a Gentile versus being a Jew, and if you're a Jew versus being a Gentile. And you can read about that in all of Luke, where the salvation of all people is for everyone. It's for people who are Gentile and Jew, but it's all based on faith. So anyway, I'm saying this to you because this morning, to be widely read, I want you to understand what that actually means. It means that you open the Word of God, and then you put to practice not only the discipline of reading, but taking your time to get to know one book at a time. And I've been a Christian for about 13 years now, 14 years this year. And believe me, having read from cover to cover several times, going through different books, doing studies, actually being a leader in this, it takes time to learn. But that's what God is gracious on. The time that you might have lost, what it says earlier is that you might have lost things with the way that you led your life before. You might have been an individual who took this as a joke, and then all of a sudden now you're reading this and you're like, wait, this is actually true. So the years that the locusts might have eaten, if you know the reference, will be given back to you, because God actually does accelerate your knowledge in this stuff when you dedicate yourself to it, purely because you understand that you are getting to know the Lord. And it's a definite, beautiful experience. So I want to encourage you about that, to be widely read, but just take one book at a time. Ask questions about the book that you're reading, and then get to know what God is saying in that book, and then move on. Okay, seriously, take 1 month to go over Luke or John, but make sure that you give yourself time enough to read it 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. Go through James, go through Revelation, go through whatever. And make sure that you don't pay attention to people who tell you don't read Revelation because it's too scary and it's got too much in it. If you don't know what the devil actually says about Revelation, and what will be implied is that the devil would not want you to read it because it shows what his end actually is. Okay, so when anybody that's a Christian tells you, first off, they use the term revelations, okay? And then they'll also tell you, oh, it's scary to read. Understand, these people, they don't know the Word of God, and you probably don't want to listen to what these people actually say. So if anybody that uses the term revelations, okay, with a plural, incorrect. And they tell you that not to read Revelation even as a new believer, incorrect as well too. Okay, read it. Take it for what it says, and then ask questions. All right. Okay. God bless you. Have a great morning.